Today we're covering getting leads with your top lead generation sources. We're so excited to have you all with us today. It is 2 o'clock Austin, Texas time. Today we have a very special guest joining us, one of my good friends, Mr. Josh Burnett. Josh is a lead agent. He is also the lead agent in the KW Ballantyne area, also CES instructor, a newly KWU approved trainer. We're so excited to have Josh Burnett with us. How are you doing today, Josh? Please say hi to everyone.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Kevin. Hello, everybody, and welcome.
All right, Josh, I'm going to give you access to the presentation. So in a moment, we'll see Josh's screen, and we're going to let Josh take it away from there. And Josh, we see your screen now. And here it comes.
There we go.
We can't wait. All right, Josh, take it away.
All right, thank you everybody for being here. Today we're going to go over my favorite 5 lead generation techniques. I do want to start out with a list of my top 10, and these are what we focus on in our business and our team to help us achieve our goals every year. Number 1 is our MET database, Geographic Farming, FSBOs. Can't wait to share some exciting information with you about FSBOs. Expired listings, open houses, door knocking, just listed and just sold circle prospecting, just listed and just sold marketing, yard signs and ad calls, and Facebook. So today in the 30 minutes that we're going to spend together, we're going to focus on my favorite 5, as I mentioned. That's our MET database, Geographic Farming, FSBOs, expired listings, and Facebook. Our number 1 source of business year over year when we track this is our MET database. That's where all of our major business comes from. And this goes back to the basics of what we learned in Camp 443 and Ignite and the MREA book is the 4 laws of your database. And those 4 laws are we have to build it, we have to feed it every single day, we've got to communicate with it in a systematic and purposeful way. That's very, very key, that it's not only systematic and purposeful. And then we have to work it. We've got to work what comes out of that. Very first step, build and organize. This is a screenshot of my eEdge account. And we break this down into different groups that we add all of our contacts to. You can see we've got contact groups for leads, for referrals, for METs, for past clients. We categorize these in ways that we can communicate and market to these specific groups of people systematically and purposely throughout the year. And one of the things I'm going to share with you guys before we get off of the MET database is our custom 33-touch program that we use. We're going to lay those steps out so that everybody can write this down and start implementing this in your business immediately. Step 2 is we've got to feed this every single day. This isn't anything new. We've always heard that we've got to feed our database. We've got to keep it fueled with new leads coming in. And that can be leads from your MET database, that can be from farming or any of these other sources that we're going to talk about today. So again, a screenshot of my eEdge database here with just some of the leads that we have in there, and we are consistently working every single day to add contacts to this database. We want to add a minimum of 10 every day, and we shoot for 20 as our goal. Step 3 is we're going to communicate with it. Again, communicating in a systematic and purposeful way, and we do that through the campaign section in eEdge. Now, I do want to point out that I'm using the Market Leader Professional add-ons to the eEdge system. However, if you don't have some of the templates that I have because you're not using the professional add-ons, there are many ways within this system that you can create your own. I like to call them little workarounds. You can repurpose any campaign that you want to focus on a topic that you want to focus on, whether that's recruiting or in this case communicating with your database. The 12 direct is a great way to do that, and then again our 33 touch, which is what I'm going to share with you in a moment for how we break that down. Here's our custom 33 touch. So while our e-edge system provides us with a 33 touch that we can implement with a matter of a couple clicks in about 5 seconds, this is what we do to go above and beyond that. We still utilize what our e-edge system provides us, but we take this a step further because even though it's 2016, real estate is still very much a relationship-based business. And guys, we can't get that. We can't get away from that and hide simply behind technology. So this is our custom 33 touch. If you want to write this down, we do 12 video emails, so 1 a month, 6 direct mail pieces. That could be flyers or postcards or anything else in the mail. We just sent out a mailer today of properties that we've sold in the first quarter of this year. 6 what I call other emails. And that could just be about anything that you want it to be about. It could be market updates or whatever that is. A happy anniversary card and or phone call. Now this could be a purchase anniversary or it could be their wedding anniversary if you know what that is. A happy birthday card and or phone call. And then guys, the next one is really, really key. This is what I call the non-negotiable of our 33 touch. We've got to do 4 phone calls throughout the year. That's 1 a quarter. That's actually picking up the phone and calling everybody in our database at least once a quarter. We send out a 4th of July card and a Happy New Year card. And when I teach classes to people, I ask them, why do you think we do a 4th of July card and a Happy New Year card? And I get lots of different answers. And some of them are from the political and religious aspect. Some of them are from it's 6 months apart. And those are all good answers. But here's one of the big key answers to that. They're getting tons of Christmas cards or Hanukkah cards or whatever they celebrate. Nobody's sending them a Happy New Year card. So that helps differentiate you and make sure that you stand out. And the same thing with 4th of July. And those are obviously both great times of the year to focus on people getting their homes ready to put on the market. And then our last thing, which brings us to the number 33, is our one item of value. For us, that's a football magnet. So we're located in Charlotte, North Carolina. We do a football magnet that has the Panthers and several of the local college teams here in the state. And we send that out. And I've gone to people's houses a year later and they still have that magnet on their refrigerator. Whatever that item of value is that would work in your marketplace is that other piece that you should send out. And the time of the year is just going to be based on whatever that piece is. So we make sure that we get those out no later than August, with football starting up in September. And then the last law of our database is we have to work it. The biggest mistake we could make is getting referrals and getting leads from our database and then not following up with those. So it's crucial to us that we utilize our e-edge system not only with putting our MET contacts in there, but after we talk to these people and we're getting these referrals, we've got to put those people in our database too. We have to take notes of these communications and we've got to follow up and schedule our reminders. And keeping all of that in one place has just been critical for us to be able to move forward and build that great past client base. Our next one we're going to talk about is geographic farming. And it took me several years to learn how to do geographic farming the right way. And guys, I'm going to tell you, this can be one of the best sources of business that you could focus on if you implement it the right way. We're going to close about $900,000 next month just from our farm. And again, it took me a few years to learn how to do this the right way. So one of the ways that we do that is we got to pick the right farm. We can't just pick a neighborhood because it's pretty or it's close to the office and we don't want to drive far. We're going to do some calculations here. So I want you to plug in the numbers that work for you, and I'm going to walk you through how to do this. If we look at letter A under Let's Calculate and choose my goal in units, let's say I want to do 12 deals this year out of my farm. So I want to close 12 units out of my farm this year. And my goal is that I'd like to have at least a 20% market share in that neighborhood. That takes us down to letter B. So if I want to do 12 and I want to have a 20% market share, that means we got to have 60 houses that close in there annually for me to be able to get that. Then if we look at the total sales that are in the farm based on the turnover rate, that means we got to have 857 homes in this neighborhood for me to yield a 20% market share and close 12 units. Now I've made it really simple for you down at the bottom. If you look where it says hint, KISS stands for keep it simple, silly. Ratio to close is 1 to 70. So for every 70 homes in your farm, you should be able to close 1. And I'll tell you guys, our farm is about 864 homes. I think that's the exact number last time I took a look at that. We're consistently communicating with these people. And one of the ways that we do that is we utilize a direct mail campaign that's within the Edge. I'll show you guys a screenshot of that now. We simply use the 12 direct. Now one of the things that we've learned to do is we supplement on top of this. We actually end up touching our farm about 22 to 24 times a year, depending on the different pieces that we send out. We use the 12 direct mail campaign as our baseline to make sure that we're getting something out at least once a month. And the screenshot that I have here is just one of the 12 directs. There's several different ones that eEdge offers. And then again, you can certainly come in here and repurpose some of these campaigns and come up with your own content and send that out. So what I would tell you guys is supplement this with market stats. Supplement this with your stats for the neighborhood. Supplement this with why they should hire you. One of the flyers I got the biggest response to was top 10 reasons why they should hire me in that neighborhood. And I shared some of what I had done in the neighborhood, or at least how the neighborhood is kind of outpacing the market if that was the case. But again, our base is run through eEdge and these 12 direct campaigns. It's critical that we're getting that out once a month. And what's been great about this for us is we can turn this on and I don't have to think about that one piece. We can focus on creating good, high quality content that we're going to supplement with that. For sale by owners, or FSBOs, I like to say that there's another definition to the word or the abbreviation FSBO, and that stands for the fastest source of business opportunity. Fastest source of business opportunity. These people are literally raising their hands, begging to sell their home. They need your help, and sometimes they just don't know it yet. Sometimes they view us as simply a salesperson that's trying to make another buck off of them, but they don't realize really what they've stepped into. One of the things that we utilize is going into our campaign section, and again, we're using the Market Leader Professional, so we've got some for sale by owner campaigns already built into our eEdge system. Again, I want to remind you, if you're not using the professional add-ons, you guys can repurpose any of these campaigns, and I'm happy to help you out with that. We'll make sure that you have my email address again at the end of this if you have questions. Our base of this, though, is again direct mail, but we've got to supplement that with building out the relationship, and we do that by following up weekly with the for sale by owner over the phone. When we go by their house, if you guys have taken Bold, you learned this tactic in there. We go preview their house, and as we're getting ready to leave, oh, hey, by the way, do you have your property disclosure statement that you're required to provide to the buyer? Most of the times they don't. Most people get that from their real estate agent. And we just come truly from contribution and how we can help them. I was speaking to a for sale by owner the other day, and I've known this lady for a little while now, and they've decided to try and start out for sale by owner. Guys, in our market, properties aren't lasting more than like 6 hours. We put a house on the market, if it's priced right and in good condition, it's going to go that first day, probably with multiple offers. Her home has been on the market for 3.5 weeks, and she's had 2 showings. So in that situation, I'm able to show her the value of having an agent and why she's ultimately going to probably net less doing this on her own than she would if she hires me. She took that information to her husband, and we have an appointment to meet next week to get the home on the market. So again, come from contribution. Use these campaigns as a base to continually get information to them, and then follow up and build that relationship. We use basically the same strategy on our expired listings. Now, guys, I'll tell you, I've been in real estate for over 6 years now, and expired listings was not something that I focused on. It was not something that I enjoyed, if I'm being transparent with you, until I learned how to do it the right way. And I learned, again, if you come from contribution and not from, hey, I want to make this next sale, you can connect and relate with these people in a way and help them out of a situation they probably couldn't find another way out of. So again, our screenshot here is some campaigns that are within eEdge that we can send out. We can do these via email, we can do it direct mail, we can do a little bit of mix of both. The biggest part of this, though, is building that relationship. So what we'll actually do is when I call an expired, if I get that person on the phone or I actually leave them a message and know that it was the right person and I didn't get the wrong number, they go into our eEdge database. I actually go ahead and save them into my phone as well. So when they call me back, I know who's calling, and I can pick up right where I left that message off at. We'll talk to them about their situation. We'll talk to them about why they feel their home didn't sell and see what we can do to help them out. And sometimes they're ready to do something right away, and sometimes they're not. And when they're not, that's when we can implement these campaigns and start following up with them and starting to build that relationship more and more. Now, one of the really neat tricks that I learned about expireds about 2 years ago was old expireds. And guys, our strategy really isn't any different. So we've used a service called LandVoice to provide us with old expireds. And when I say old, I'm not talking about just last year. We've gone back as far as 2008. I'll tell you, that's a much easier phone call to make for me because they didn't get 7 other phone calls that morning from real estate agents. Guys, they haven't talked to a real estate agent in 7 or 8 years. They were frustrated in the down market. We reach out to them. We have a category for those contacts in our eEdge database. And every morning when we come in, we can just pull that up and pick up right where we left off the day before with our lead generation. A little over a year ago when we started doing expireds, one of the first successes that I had with it was I called this lady who was an old expired from 2008. And keep in mind now, this is late 2014 when I called her. So it had been quite a while since she'd been on the market, a little over 6 years. And when I called her, I didn't even know this, but she was a for sale by owner when I called her. And so I went into my for sale by owner scripts and kind of got off of my old expired script since she was obviously trying to sell. A few days later, I think it was actually just about a week later, she emailed me and she said, hey, we're ready to list our house. When can you come out? So I set an appointment. I went out there a few days later. I went out there on a Tuesday, listed the home for $5,100 more than she was asking as a for sale by owner. Got a signed listing agreement, put a sign in the yard the next day with professional photography, and the house was gone 2 days later, full asking price, and we helped them buy a new construction home as well. All from an old expired call that took me maybe, that whole call initially probably took me 3 minutes, and that opened the door to build that relationship. What I always want to point back to is how we utilize these tools and technology that Keller Williams provided to us through eEdge to help foster and build those relationships. We don't rely on just making a phone call. We don't rely on going to some other site and having to build out these campaigns. They're already there for us, so let those do their job, and then you supplement that to help build that relationship. Now, Facebook is probably one of my more favorite ones because we're having some phenomenal success with Facebook. And I'm going to share with you exactly what we're doing today. You don't have to sign up for another webinar. You don't have to pay me thousands of dollars to get this secret. I'm just going to share it with you right here on this call. couple of things that I want to point out about Facebook though. For some people, it's more of a relationship building tool than a lead generation engine, and that's okay. For us, it's both. And bullet point number 2 there is extremely important, and you may want to put this in your notes. Our goal is to get face-to-face, not Facebook to Facebook. See, I can click like on your post all day long, but we're not connecting and we're not relating. Keep in mind what I said when I started this call earlier today. 2016, real estate is still a relationship-based business. And no amount of technology is ever going to take that away. We can use technology to enhance and leverage and further build out those relationships. So again, the goal is face-to-face, not Facebook to Facebook. But one of the things that we do is a Facebook custom list for easy organization. And here's what I mean by that. On your screen here, over in this big magnified circle here on the left-hand side, under your friends, this is on the home page of Facebook. You can go down on the left-hand side where it says friends and click on more. And then we can create custom list. So right here, we can say A and B, or just simply A, or Monday, whatever you want to call it. We actually come in, we'll organize all of these. I did mine in 26 different categories. You can see this example here. We've got F and G, H and V, just different ones there. We did ours in 26 different ones, one for each letter of the alphabet. And so what I'll do when I focus on that lead generation is I'll come in and I'll click on A if it's time for me to do that. And then I'll just find ways to interact with those people. I'll look at their profile and see if there's something neat that we can talk about. I'll see if there's a photo that I could comment on, or see if there's a status that says that maybe there's something they need that I could help them out with. And I don't just mean real estate. I just mean being a friend and actually being there to help them out. We also integrate a lot of private messages with these contacts. And so what I mean is I'm not going to post something on their profile page and say, hey, I hope you're having a great day. If you know somebody that wants to buy or sell real estate, give us a call. We'll send them a private message and connect with them if we don't have their phone number. If we do, we'll give them a call and maybe talk about something we saw on Facebook. Hey, Brittany, I saw you guys were at Disney last week. How was your trip? Looked pretty awesome. I saw your photos. Looks like you guys had a great time. Again, it's taking that online relationship offline and enhancing that relationship. Now, one other thing that I want to talk to you about with Facebook is a strategy that we implemented only 18 days ago. In 18 days, we've generated 32 seller leads. 32 seller leads in 18 days. We've spent $145.36 to do this in 18 days. And one of the biggest things that I want to point out that is so successful about this campaign is those 32 leads came from 102 visitors on our website. That means that we've had a 30% conversion of people who actually clicked on our ad that registered to get more information that we've been able to follow up with. And guys, when it comes to doing any kind of marketing, whether it's online or offline, those conversion rates are critical. I not only need to know what my conversion rate is for the people that I talk to, I've got to know the conversion rate for how many people have to go to my website for me to get a lead. And 30%, I'm going to be honest with you, is killing it. This is an example on your screen of an ad that we're running on Facebook currently. So it's connected to our business page. Simply says, what is your home worth? Click to get an instant value of your home. And you can see the other details there along with the photo. Now we're running 2 of these currently with different images. But the results for that I gave you are for both of those ads combined, not for one individually. So that's the success that we've had in running some ads, and all we're doing is sending them to a landing page. And anytime I say this in a class, I hear a lot of people say, well, I don't have a landing page. But take a look. This is your eEdge website. This is the sell page on your eEdge website. This is a lead capture form right here. You can send people to this site. They can fill in their information and you get a new seller lead, and then you can follow up with them to provide them with a market value. So again, think outside the box. Think about driving traffic back to your website that KW's provided for you guys to capture more of those leads. An action plan here that we want to leave you guys with is establish your strategy, categorize or group your database. So go into your eEdge database and start managing your groups. Add for sale by owners and expireds, current or old. Create custom lists in Facebook. And leverage Facebook to build relationships and lead generation. And the last one I want to talk about as you guys are writing out your action plan here is we said that we would talk about some ad calls and sign calls. And we're basically using scripts for those to convert those calls and not just giving information right away. And then the first thing we're doing is putting those in our eEdge database, adding notes, following up, and utilizing our campaigns that are provided in the system. So guys, that's a brief overview of what we're doing for lead generation in our team here in the Charlotte market. Want to open it up now for any questions or any ahas and see what we can do to help you guys out in implementing some of these systems.
So thank you, Josh. First of all, that was some really great information, and I hope you all took a lot out of that. We had a good group here with a lot of attentiveness, which we appreciate. We did have one question come through, and it was asking, how do you create market stats in a postcard to format for local stats? Do you delete the templates? Do you start from scratch? Where do you get the numbers and so forth? Can you answer that for us?
Yeah, so we're pulling all of our numbers from the MLS, and I know that that's always a tough answer because every MLS is a little bit different. But our MLS gives us monthly stats, it gives us quarterly stats, and then at any point I can go in there and run numbers and say, hey, show me what's going on in this neighborhood in the last week. So that's where we're getting our data from, and then we're either plugging that into a flyer or a postcard or something like that.
Awesome. Okay, and then another question is this is a common question people ask, when you are posting to Facebook, do you post using your professional Facebook page, your business page? Do you use both? How do you use both? Can you give us some tips on that?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Thanks for asking that. Again, we had to learn kind of trial by fire here, some best practices. And what we do now is we do utilize both. So obviously I have a personal profile as well as a business page that you guys saw for that ad. We post everything real estate related through that business page. And then what we do from our personal page, we will share that. And the reason that we do it that way is it gives us that branding to help drive traffic back to our business page.
Okay, very good. Marlene, please let us know if that did not answer your question. Same thing with you, Robbie. We don't have any other questions coming in. We're going to give you all just another minute or so to throw any questions at us. We have about 2 more minutes left with Josh, so let's take advantage of his expertise and the opportunity we have to ask these questions. All right. Okay, did you do that on your own, the Facebook business page, or did you have someone build that for you?
I did do it on my own, and one of the things that I tell people is when it comes to your business page, I want you guys to think quality, not quantity. And what I mean by that, we actually went through a rebranding with my team and our business several months back, and we created a brand new Facebook page. And right now, I think we're just shy of 300 likes on that page. And let me tell you why I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that because I know that those 300 people are likely to buy, sell, or refer people to me that are ready to do real estate. So it's great to be able to connect with other real estate agents, and I do that on my personal page. But on my business page, I want that to just be for that consumer that wants information. So we've done it ourselves, and we grow it organically. Sometimes we do some campaigns, sometimes we do some ads, but you know, I don't want 700 likes and 650 of those to be other realtors. because then my message is landing on people that are not going to want my product or service. Does that make sense?
Agreed. Agreed. Okay. Your group categories, can you give us some ideas of the categories that you use?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want, I can go back to that screen here just so you can see it.
I took over. Which screen was that?
Should be back in right after the 4 laws.
Okay, very good. Give me 2 seconds.
Yeah, go back to that one.
Yep.
So this is just a quick screenshot. You're not seeing everything that we have there. The ones that say 2012, 13, 14 leads, those were actually internet leads that were generated during those time frames when this screenshot was taken. Some of these numbers are updated since then, but since the screenshot was taken. But we've got our Met database, we've got farming, we've got any groups that we're a part of. So I was actually at my old church, I was part of a motorcycle group, so I've got those people in a specific group. Just things like that, so that we can, if we have a specific message that we want to send out to one group, it's easy for us to do that. We don't have to go searching for all of those contacts. At minimum, I would say absolutely everybody needs a 33 touch group and then a Met database group.
Okay, very good. I had a couple of people asking if we are recording this presentation, and we did record it. We are recording it. It will be available here on the YouTube channel, the KW Technology Training Team YouTube channel. You all should see that here in a moment. And just a quick clarification on the templates. So you do use a current template, but you take away some pieces of it, or do you literally start from scratch? Do you have a blank slate, or do you use a template and then add and adjust it?
For the postcards?
For the postcards, correct.
It really depends on what it is.
Okay.
If we're doing like a property postcard, just listed, just sold, that was in our top 10. We're just using the standard templates that are in there. We're really not needing to change those much. It honestly just really depends on the content that we're having to put on this card. Sometimes we can modify a template enough to get the info we want on there, and sometimes we're having to start from scratch.
Okay. How do you get the homeowners, FSBOs, and expireds phone numbers? How do you, they want to know, is there a software that you use, or how do you get that? How do you get those numbers?
Yeah, so Land Voice has been really great for us. RedX is another great provider out there. And I'll be honest with you, I don't know much about RedX anymore. I used it back when I was on a PC, and then I switched over to the bright side and got a Mac, and RedX did not work with a Mac. So we started using Land Voice exclusively for all of that. They do provide for sale by owners. They provide current expireds, old expireds, and they have a really cool just listed, just sold campaign where I can plug in an address, and it gives me 100 properties around it that I can call, provides me the phone numbers, and I can call those properties and say, hey, we just listed your neighbor's house, or we just sold this house 3 doors down from you. And we know that when one house sells, typically 2 or 3 more are going to sell around it. So if you consider selling your home, or do you know a neighborhood that is? So Land Voice has been critical to us in those aspects.
Okay, very good. So tell us about your geographic farm. You did tell us a little bit about choosing your farm, and I'm bringing the calculations up here so you can see that. But I guess the question is, how do you choose that neighborhood farm? Besides, is it all number of homes? Is that what you're going for? What are those stats? Anything else you can tell us about?
So the way I picked mine, it was actually a neighborhood that I live in. So that was how I picked it. And I started doing some farming. I told you guys that I kind of did not succeed at it for a couple of years. And what I mean by that is when you decide that you're going to farm, you guys need to be ready to commit to that for at least 12 to 18 months, okay? You can't do it for 1 or 2 months and say, oh, well, that didn't work, I didn't get anything, and then 6 months later decide to try it again. So we really had to commit to it, and we found some financially smart ways to do that, doing some flyers initially instead of postcards, hand delivering versus mailing, things like that that helped us cut the expenses. So for me, it was initially picking where I lived before I knew these numbers and before I knew how to calculate these numbers. Once I learned how to calculate these numbers, my farm actually fit perfectly into that equation. So for me, I got lucky and that worked out. Now, if I was to go pick a new farm, it would be based strictly on these numbers, And the second criteria would be, distance to my home or office so that I could service those listings properly.
Okay, awesome. One more. What if you're new? What would you recommend adding to the postcard?
As far as stats?
Yeah, I mean, let's say that you're new and you said one of the things is, I want to give you the top 5 reasons why you should hire me. Somebody new may not have those, the confidence to say something like that. Is there anything else you might recommend?
One of the things that I always tell newer agents is with Keller Williams, we're so blessed to have such a team culture and a team concept in all of our market centers. So the market center's numbers are your numbers. Feel free to use those. Now, don't be misleading and say that you sold 612 homes last month, but you could say our office or our team or however you want to word that, and show how your market center is outpacing the market, because I bet if you go talk to your team leader that your local Keller Williams offices are outpacing the market because of what we do with our training and education and what our agents are able to do out there in the market. So I don't want that to sound like a kind of a cliche answer, but your market center's got some awesome numbers that you guys can utilize.
I agree with that. And I'll just add that, we're all in this business. And many of us didn't just show up in this business. We weren't born into the business. So we did something in our past, in our previous experience, that gave us some skills that not anybody else has, because not everyone has done what we've done in our past. So I've always said, try to highlight those things that you've done in the past, not necessarily that here's what I've done in the past, but here's the experience that I have that will help you to buy a home.
Kevin, can I touch on that real quick?
100%, please. This is your webinar.
One of the things that you'll hear a lot about, especially if you're a new agent and you're just going through Ignite, is your unique value proposition and your unique selling proposition. Guys, that doesn't have to have anything to do with real estate. You don't have to have ever sold a home before. And I struggled with that when I first got in, and then I realized it when somebody explained it to me the right way. See, Kevin's right. We've all done different things before. So an example that I like to use when I'm teaching classes to a live audience is, before I got into real estate, I was a tactical paramedic on a SWAT team. With that, do you think that that brings a certain level of focus and dedication to my business that someone else may not have? And it certainly does. It doesn't mean that I'm better than them or they're not as good as I am. We're just different. But that's something that I know I have that I can bring to the table. And then I try to be funny and say, ask people how many people have kids, and they'll raise their hand. And I don't have any kids. So then I say, you have a heck of a lot more patience than I do. And that's something that they bring to the table. Mm-hmm. So just think about everything that you've gone through and everything that you experience, because that's what you have to offer to somebody.
Agreed. That's beautiful. Hey, thank you very much, Josh. We are a little bit over time. Thank you all very much for sticking around. We'd love some comments about what you all thought about today's presentation. We'd like to hear that. We'd like for you all to give Josh a big hand. Thank you again for joining us. And for the rest of you, we will have this available on the Technology Training Team's YouTube page. As always, stay on the edge of real estate technology by using KW Technology. And we want you all to make it a great day at Keller Williams. Thanks again. We'll talk to you soon and see you next Monday. Bye-bye.